Fall 2025 past workshop. As a reminder, my name is Joy Madison, the University Librarian Academic Support Center Director here at Benedictine. And today, I am sorry to say, we did say Mr. Mark Davidson was going to be here today, but he had an emergency and couldn't make it. So between Dr. Davis, our wonderful accommodations director, is here to talk about BenU scholarships. I want to say though, if you have questions at the end about scholarships, you can ask Dr. Davis, but I would really encourage you to email Mr. Mark Davidson. You guys mostly know who Mark is, yes, mdavidson@ben.edu, just like it sounds. Or you can come talk to one of us if you need to get his email address. The Student Life Office does a lot of this, so they have questions on it that we will do I know we'll do our best today, but if there's a specific questions that you have about particular ones you'd like to apply for, or the dates of when everything is set up, that would be the best one. So without further ado, I will have to ask Dr. Davis to take us off.
Okay. I was asking you a question about how much you want free money. And if you want free money, you came to the right place, right? But is it really free money? Well, why not? Why is it not free money?
You gotta work.
You gotta work for it. That's right. You gotta work for it. And when we say you gotta work for it, what does that mean? It means you gotta fill out the application. There is an application process that goes into the wonderful free money. Not only is there an application to fill out, but some of these scholarships require you to get a letter of recommendation from various, whether it be professors, faculty, if you work on campus, maybe your on-campus employer. It's really important that when you think about letters of recommendation, some look better than others. Some letters of recommendation look better than others. And what I mean by that is that a recommendation from a faculty member for a scholarship for your major is going to look great. A scholarship for your major and you get a letter of recommendation from your mother, probably not a good idea. And when I say probably, unless your mother's a professor, yeah, I would not go with your mother. Same thing with employer. If your employer is on campus, great idea. If you're employed by Target and your supervisor is an 18-year-old named Buff, probably not. Probably not. So think strategically. Think strategically about doing scholarship applications, because the people who do the more specific applications, they do everything that's asked of you, they are the ones who get the money. Why isn't it going forward?
I don't know. Check. There you go.
Okay. So in order to get a scholarship, like I said, there's a process. This QR code, just an FYI, this QR code is going to take you to the scholarship portal. This is not the QR code for attendance today. This is the QR code for the scholarship portal. If you don't have a smartphone, if you don't bookmark it, if you don't do whatever, then you're going to have to use the wonderful traditional address, which is scholarships@ben.edu. And I think it's like award spring. It's a really weird ben.edu/award spring, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the first thing that you're going to do is go to the web page. You're going to go to the portal. That's the most important starting point. Okay. If you're having problems getting into the portal, make sure that you send an email to either Mark Davidson, MDAVIDSON, Mark Davidson, at ben.edu, or use this scholarships@ben.edu, or use this phone number. Okay. So if you're having problems getting into the portal, that's the number. Those are the email addresses that you call or write. Okay. So these are the steps that you want to go through when applying. First things first, you got to log in and then you need to create an account. If you create an account this year, you don't have to recreate it next year. If you have one from last year, you don't have to recreate it. You can just log in. Okay. Big key is, do you remember your password? What happens if you don't remember your password? Who do I call? What do I do if I don't remember my password? Any guesses? I'll give you a hint. IT help desk won't help. Who do you call if you can't remember your password? Should I sit and wait? Okay. What do you call? What do you message? No. So you don't remember what you don't remember what your password is to getting into the scholarship portal. Who should you contact? No one? No free money for you? You contact the portal. You contact that scholarships@ben.edu. You contact Mark Davidson. You contact that phone number that I gave you. You call one of those people. Because IT doesn't deal in scholarships. If you forgot your password to get into your D2L or your email, then yes, call the help desk. But the scholarship is its own unique entity. We'll call it that. Okay? So then, after you make your account, you get logged into your account, then you need to fill in your basic information. You'll have to put your name and your BID and all that other stuff. But it'll also ask you for certain things, such as your major, your race. It'll ask you some other basic information. I can't remember what it was. What your GPA is. If you don't know what your GPA is, if you're a returning student, go into my BenU. You know what your GPA is in my BenU. Go into the academics portion. If you are a brand new freshman student, then your GPA is going to be as close to what you're currently at or what your final high school GPA is at. Because a lot of the scholarships are based on academics. A lot of them say you must have a 3.5 or above. If you have less than a 3.5, your chances decrease. If they go up, they increase. But a 3.5 is a what average? And so you know what the average 3.5 is? B plus average. So yeah, scholarships do have a lot to do with academics. Not all of them do, but a lot of them do. Also, it might ask you about your financial situation. A lot of scholarships are built on financial need. So say, for example, in past year, a lot of us have been hurting a lot. A lot of us have seen our rents go up, our grocery bill increase. Some parents have lost their jobs. And so these are things that the financial essay addresses. What's going on with you and your family situation that you might need the scholarship money for? Really stress, why is it you need this money? Now, I'm going to caution you on this because there's a nice blend here, a nice mix here. Yes, you want to demonstrate that you need this money. But at the same time, the scholarship committee, I'm on it, doesn't want to sit through 150 scholarship applications and say, oh my God, I wrecked my car, and then I got cancer, and then, right? You can only read so many essays that are sad, right? Sometimes, just saying, hey, look, my dad lost his job, and I wrecked my car. Sometimes that's enough. You don't have to go into 14 pages of why your life sucks, okay? Also, when you're thinking about your financial situation, it'll ask you, have you taken out loans? Have you not taken out loans? Are you getting what type, are you getting Pell or MAP grants? That sort of thing, it'll ask you about, okay? And then, like I said, your GPA, it'll ask you about that. Then, when you're going in to apply for scholarships, after you enter in all your information, you'll hit submit. And then it'll narrow down the scholarships that you are eligible for based on the information that you put in. So for example, if you're a business major, it's not going to give you science and health scholarship. If you're a science and health major, it's not going to show you business scholarship. Why on earth do you think it would do that? Cut you out of the pie? No. Why do you think they would do that? To show you specifically what scholarships you are eligible. Because there's no sense in wasting your time applying for scholarships that you're not going to get. And it'll allow you to really focus in on those scholarships that you are able to get. Now, like I said, sometimes it'll ask you for a personal statement. It'll ask you for a letter of recommendation. In those situations, it's important that you are honest. It is important that you really put your best foot forward. Look at the scholarship that you are applying for. Okay? Read the description. I'll say it again, read the description. So one of the scholarships that I am the primary person who reads every single application and sorts through the applications is the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship. It's, I think it's $1,000 per semester or per year. It's $1,000. And then they ask you, okay, how is your life like MLK? And you know what I get oftentimes? I just get the person who applied for every other scholarship, and it is such a generic letter that I just, next. I can read the first paragraph and go next. Why? Because it's not answering the question that's put forth. So you might have to write several different letters. This is really good practice for when you get into the real world. Because in the real world, when you're applying for a job, you might send, you go back. Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Grace. You might apply for 50 jobs after you graduate. And you may send out the same resume to every single company. But when you write your lovely cover letter, it's not going to be the same cover letter for every job. And it shouldn't be. It should be very specific. So when I am reading through scholarship applications and somebody nails it, they say, my life is like MLK and here's why. I go, yes, this student gets it. Whereas this student's going, I really need the money because I lost my job and I wrecked my car and my life sucks. This person, yes. This person, no. So really think about how you're going to write that personal statement or that letter. It's important that you start now. The portal opened up on November 1st, and people are already starting to apply. So really get yourself in there. If you need to wait until Thanksgiving break when your life settles down a little bit, that's fine. But don't wait until the last minute because a good application takes time. Okay. Second thing, letters of recommendation. How do you ask a professor for a letter of recommendation? Well, the last time we were here, I gave you some tips about how to communicate with your faculty. Anybody remember what the number one thing I said to do was? Anybody was here last time? So write a professional sounding email that says, hello, Professor Smith. I'm really enjoying your biology class. I was wondering if I could meet with you for 15 minutes on Thursday to talk about a letter of recommendation. Short, it's simple, it's a specific time that you want to meet, right? And it butters them up a little bit. I'm really enjoying your biology class. Even if you're not really enjoying their biology class, maybe a simple, I'm in your biology class, right? Because you want to be honest. But it's important that you ask as soon as possible. Just like all of you, faculty are extremely busy. You have one test for every class you're taking. That might mean anywhere between 4 and 7 tests. Now multiply those 4 and 7 tests by 40 students, 30 students. That's how many tests they have to grade. You only have to take one, they have to grade. So they're really busy people. So really starting early and asking them, can I have this letter by this date? If there is a deadline attached, you tell them this application or this letter of recommendation needs to be submitted by December 31st or whatever the deadline is. Because then they know when you need it by. If you just say, hey, can I just get a letter of recommendation? When? Where? What am I supposed to do with it? That's why it's best to go talk to them. Okay, some scholarships are highly competitive. There is one scholarship that I'm thinking in my head about, which is the Arthur J. Schmidt Scholars Program. Arthur J. Schmidt Scholars. It's worth $5,000. Very, 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 very competitive. I believe there's a letter of recommendation component, there's an interview component, there's a lot that goes into that. And then there are some that just say, hey, fill out this application, fill out the portal, hit send, you're done. And those are usually about, $250, maybe $500. They're lesser amounts and they're not as competitive. There are some scholarships that get a lot of people applying for them. There are some that get none. I'll be honest, there are some that get none. And so if there's one sitting out there that doesn't have any applicants, and no, it doesn't tell you how many people have applied so far. But if there is nobody applying for it, and your GPA is sitting out somewhere around 2.2, but you're the only person to apply, what are the odds of you getting it? 100%. Amen. Yeah. But then again, maybe there's one that's worth $5,000 and there's 1,000 students applying for it. What are your odds? Unless you're a superstar. So think strategically. And again, when you hit that send button, it will only show you the ones that you are eligible for, based on your major, based on your situation. Okay. This one's really important, which is if you applied last year and you didn't get it last year, apply again this year. Apply for the same scholarship this year. Chances are your GPA has gotten a little higher. Maybe the list of people applying isn't as high. There's lots of reasons why you didn't get it last year, but you might get it this year. If you were a freshman last year, that means this year you're a sophomore. You have a better chance. If you're a senior this year, there's not a lot of scholarships for seniors, I'll be honest. But people going to be a senior, meaning juniors this year, yeah. Definitely apply if you're a junior. Okay. Be patient after the application time closes. It takes time. So once all the applications have been submitted, then the applications go to a committee. And in that committee, the committee decides who gets what, right? But just like all of you, the people who sit on that committee are extremely busy. As someone who sits on the University Honors Committee, I will say that trying to get 6 of us in a room at the same time is next to impossible. Imagine trying to get 6, well, including you, imagine trying to get 5 of your friends and you all to agree on a date to go out to dinner. It's the same thing with professors. So usually scholarship committees usually meet after spring break. So even though the scholarship may close at, I think it's February 1st, I think. Even though it's closed, it doesn't mean that we're going to decide on February 1st who gets it and who doesn't. It takes time. It takes patience. Okay. Also, remember that the deadline is likely to not get extended. The deadline, when you go into the portal, it'll tell you what the deadline for each scholarship is. When that deadline comes, it will close. The portal will close. And you say, but I was in the middle of submitting and it closed. Can I resubmit? No. So make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to get things submitted. Okay. As Mark likes to put it, and this is Mark's word, not mine. If you're a day late, you have missed out. So don't be late. Get it in there. Okay. So this is the QR code for attendance. But before you leave, I want to answer any questions that you have. Because scholarships is about free money. It really is. And like I said, it's really important to make sure that you are positioning yourself in the way that makes you the head person, the person at the top of the list. So writing those letters that are effective. We have wonderful people on the third floor. Yeah, oh, look at you two. Look at you three, actually, who can help you. So, Dr. Roach, I know I ask you this all the time. Could you stand up so they can see your lovely face? Dr. Roach is our reading, writing, literacy. She's our all-around go-to person, and she will help. Go ahead, Giselle.
Oh, I want to say, I actually had somebody come in this morning to work on her scholarship application. Three things, I guess, that tend to be trouble areas or areas that need focus. One is that, as you said, answer the question. Sometimes people have these great essays, but they're not addressing the question, so that's not really going to get you anyplace. Second one is language that's too generic, vague. You know, oh, I'm passionate about biology and blah, blah, blah. Like, well, what does that mean? What does that look like, right? Talk is cheap. It's the, the old expression, don't just tell us, show us. So make that. And the third thing is pay attention to those word limits or character limits or whatever they are. If it's too long, that's not going to work. And if it's too short, when they give you those limits, it's an indication that they want a certain amount of depth, right? So, because I've had students say, well, I've answered the question. Well, yeah, you have, but you haven't really made it a full answer, right? So pay attention to that word limit and try to meet it as closely as you can.
I think that's really great advice is really pay attention, like you said, to the prompt, but also to the depth. I'm really passionate about biology. I love math. It's flat. When you hear someone say, I love math, what does that mean to you?
I'm overjoyed. I love that. But yeah, well, what about math do you love? Is there a particular topic that you are enjoying very much? Did you go above and beyond somehow to show your passion?
Yeah, so both of our learning specialists and Dr. Larson, who couldn't be here today, our science learning specialists, can help you. They can help you craft your ideas or run your ideas by you. And if you get them in the nick of time, maybe they'll serve as letters of recommendation writer. I'm not sure, but it's important to utilize the resources that we have here on campus for you. The last person that I think in the room that I think can really help you is also our academic accommodation specialist, which is Grace Sisto. Grace recently graduated from college a year ago. And so she knows what, what it takes. And so really, really, really taking advantage of all the resources that we have is important. Scholarship money isn't a lottery. We don't just reach into the bowl and say, oh, Jake Smith. Okay, Jake's back here. Next, we don't do that. We actually read what is written. We take time to get to know you on paper. Paint the picture of who you are. Paint a picture of why this scholarship was meant for you, not someone else. That's the best advice I can give you. Just like when you're applying for a job and you've got to have that sufficient depth of saying, this is why I'm perfect for this job. Tell me why you are perfect for this scholarship. Okay. Open it up to questions, comments, concerns. Anybody? Okay, well then, if you have nothing else, you can go ahead and use the QR code As Ms. Madsen pointed out, there are the YouTube videos from the previous past sessions that we've had. Last week, we talked about calculating your grade, talking with your faculty. We've had sessions on
Time management.
time management.
Amount of cognition, thinking back, reflecting back to move forward.
Reflecting AI,
And, yeah.
Academic syllabus.
Note taking.
note taking, reading your syllabus. So there's a lot of good things in the YouTube library. As we are approaching the end of the semester, it's really super important that you are taking advantage of all of the resources. If you don't know what your grade is, watch the video. Talk to your professor. Figure it out, right? You can come and see us. The important thing is that you finish strong. I know right now we're all burnt out. I get it. We're all aching for Thanksgiving, right? But you want to finish strong. Because the stronger you finish, the better the start of the next semester is going to be for you. Nobody wants to sit around and go, oh God, I hope I pass my English class. I don't want to have to retake my English class. Okay, I'm going to register for 1102. 1102, and then boom, you get your grades and you didn't pass 1102. So now you got to do 1101 again, which is going to totally mess with your schedule in the spring. So finish strong. Because you shouldn't go into the final guessing, am I going to pass? That should never enter your mind. Okay. As always, from Ms. Oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
just want to say one thing because it was such a striking experience for me. I had a student once, I want to say, so my message is saying hi. I had a student who figured he was shooting for the D. Because if you're, as long as I got the D, I passed. He didn't get the D, he got the F. Had he only been shooting for a C, maybe he would have got that G. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, don't sell yourself short, you know?
Yeah, and in a lot of the majors, especially in health sciences, you can have a D. If if you're a health science major, a D, you'll have to repeat. So aim for the B, get the C, don't repeat, right? When I was in college, there was an old saying that D's get degrees. Not true. Definitely not true. So, but as always, if you have questions, please take advantage of anyone on campus that you can to get the help you need. We are here. We're here to help you. Okay. Have a great day. And if you're so inclined, there's something going on the 5th floor of Finland right now. The first generation college student panel. If you're a first generation college student, meaning you're the first person in your family to go to college, they'll be there for another, I think, 20 minutes. Otherwise, go have a great day and we'll see you in the spring. Thank you.
You too.